Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into Adam Grant's awesome book, Hidden Potential, and it's all about this really provocative idea that we've been looking at talent and success completely backwards. It's not about being born a genius, it's about how much ground you're willing to cover. This line from Tupac Shakur really just sets the perfect stage for what we're talking about today. It's all about that surprising, incredible strength that can bloom in the toughest places imaginable. It's the perfect way to start thinking about hidden potential. So, to really get this, we've got to first confront something huge, this powerful myth that's baked into our culture, the idea of innate, natural-born talent. And there's no better story to illustrate this than a classic David versus Goliath showdown from the world of competitive chess. So, picture this. On one side, you've got the Dalton School. We're talking an elite prep school, every advantage you can think of. They have a chess curriculum that starts in kindergarten, and they've already won 3 national titles. And on the other side, the Raging Rooks, a team from a public school in Harlem, kids who grew up in poverty, some of whom didn't even learn how to play chess until middle school. I mean, on paper, this isn't even a contest, right? You've got the polished, well-resourced favorites versus the ultimate underdogs. It really looked like an impossible matchup. And then, in a twist that just stunned everybody, the Raging Rooks tied Dalton. They became national champions. This result, which nobody saw coming, it doesn't just poke a hole in how we think about talent. It forces us to ask a much, much bigger question. See, here's the kicker. The Raging Rooks didn't win because they were some secret, undiscovered prodigies. They won because their coach, Maurice Ashley, he focused on building character. Things like discipline, determination, being proactive. And it turns out those skills are way better predictors of success in the long run than just raw talent. And that brings us to the central point of the whole book. We have been measuring potential all wrong. Adam Grant argues that it's not about your starting point. It's not about how gifted you seem on day one. No, it's about the distance you travel. Growth, that is the real measure of potential. Okay, so if potential is all about the journey, about the distance traveled, how do we even start? Especially when, let's be honest, learning something new feels super uncomfortable and awkward. Right. So Grant's argument here is pretty radical. We have to actively go looking for discomfort. Real growth, it doesn't happen when we're coasting. It happens in that exact moment when we're stretching and fumbling and feeling like we have no idea what we're doing. I mean, just think about the legendary comedian Steve Martin. He was not an overnight sensation, not even close. His early career was basically just bombing on stage night after night. One critic actually wrote that he was the single worst booking error in LA history, but he didn't quit. So how did he flip the script? Well, Martin figured out that to get good, he had to go through the painful process of writing his own material, which he hated at first. His own agent told him to just stick to writing for other people. But that very skill, the one he built through years of being uncomfortable, that's what made him sharper, funnier, and ultimately what launched him into superstardom as a performer. Okay, so discomfort. We need it. Got it. But let's be real, grinding away at something that's really hard can just completely drain you. It's a recipe for burnout. So how do you stay motivated for the long haul? Well, the answer isn't just practice more. It's about practicing smarter. And this is where Grant gives us a brilliant distinction between deliberate practice, those boring repetitive drills that just crush your soul, and what he calls deliberate play. This is where you transform the hard work of building a skill into a fun, structured, engaging game. And you see this everywhere. Doctors are using improv games to learn how to read their patients better. Sales teams are using role-playing to get better at conversations. Basketball players are running competitive mini-games instead of just doing boring drills. And you even have musicians like the profoundly deaf percussionist Evelyn Glennie, who learned to tell pitch by feeling vibrations, turning her practice into this incredible game of discovery. This whole idea is just captured perfectly by Steph Curry's trainer, Brandon Payne. He literally turned Curry's workouts from a chore into a series of addictive video games. Curry wasn't just shooting baskets, he was competing against himself, always trying to beat his old records for speed and for accuracy, and that's how you turn the grind into a source of joy. So far, we've talked a lot about how we can unlock potential in ourselves.
But what about the systems that are supposed to find potential in other people? Like in hiring or college admissions. What if they're looking for all the wrong things? To understand this, let's look at the incredible story of Jose Hernandez. He grew up as a child of migrant farm workers, and he used to look up at the stars from the fields in California and dream of going to space. That dream drove him to get advanced degrees in engineering, and then he started applying for his dream job to become a NASA astronaut, and NASA rejected him. Then they rejected him again and again. For 15 straight years, he applied, and he was rejected 11 times. Every time, the same answer: not selected. Now, he clearly had the skills, he had the character, and an unbelievable amount of drive. So, what was NASA missing? They were missing his degree of difficulty. And this is such a critical idea. It's a way of looking at potential that doesn't just see the final achievements. It sees the obstacles that person had to climb over just to get to the starting line. And here's the problem. Most of our systems, whether it's for hiring or for getting into college, they're designed to find the already polished diamonds. They reward the people who start out with a bunch of advantages, and they completely overlook people like Jose Hernandez, whose journey from a farm to a NASA application showed more grit and resilience than any resume ever could. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. The true measure of your potential isn't about how high you climb, it's about how far you've climbed from where you started. That's the whole game. And when we start looking for that, we start seeing potential everywhere. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. When you judge yourself and when you look at other people, are you just seeing the shiny surface, or are you looking at the climb? Because by shifting our focus from the starting line to the distance traveled, we can unlock a whole world of hidden potential, not just in the people around us, but maybe most importantly, inside ourselves.